All right, welcome back. It is time to check in with Carmi Levy. He's our CTV tech analyst. And Carmi, I got to start by talking about the Apple launch this week, their new iPhone 17. I started reading some of the posts on social media after the event. Now, I should point out, to be fair, and I want to get your take, the comments about this is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. These colors are terrible. They were about the 17 Pro because I guess the camera arrangement on the back is a bit weird looking compared to, the regular phone. What did you think?
Oh, I mean, these are clearly the best iPhones that Apple has ever released. We say the same thing every year, of course. And every year there's always going to be chatter online about how, ugly they are. They could have done more. They wish the price were less. There's always going to be a peanut gallery. And, and this year is no exception. But I think the proof is in how well they sell. They're still the most popular devices, the most popular phones in Canada and the U.S. They still set the global standard for everyone else to follow, and you're going to be putting into a case anyway. So, you're not going to see that. They call it the plateau, apparently, because it's wider. It needs more. The cameras keep getting better. They need more room for all that equipment in there, so something's got to give. That's just the way these devices are. And if they didn't make the cameras better, people would be complaining that their pictures weren't as good. So you never win with some people. They're still going to be buying an iPhone anyway.
How expensive are these things going to be, say, here in Canada?
They start at $1,129, so that is the same as last year. You can get an iPhone 17 for that. The Pro Max, or the all-singing, all-dancing version, starts at $1,749. So they are premium products. Wow. They introduced a new one called the iPhone Air, which is super thin. It's 5.6 millimeters thin. It's about 3/4 stacked on top of each other. So that's kind of the new, pull out of your pocket and all your friends go wow kind of device. That's $1,449. So no, these are not bargain bin devices, but then again, the iPhone has never been a budget device, and that isn't changing this year at all.
So you said the iPhone Air, the thin one, is like 3/4 stacked on top of each other. You said, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping for only 2/4. So this is not going to work for me.
They could have gone further. So the question now becomes, right? How is the battery performance in something that, say, an Apple was? They didn't say a lot. They said that it would be able to play video for 27 hours, which sounds like a lot, but that's a pretty controlled environment. We'll have to wait until they actually get out into the real world to see what battery life is. We are expecting pre-orders open up, I believe, this week, and they will be available in store and online as of September 19th. So, the proof is in the pudding, and every year everyone complains that there isn't enough battery life anyway, but they still buy them too.
By the way, people had said before the launch itself, right, given the whole issue with tariffs and, Donald Trump stuff or whatever, they were worried that the prices might actually go crazy. And in fact, they haven't, right? They've kept them, as you said, roughly in the same areas as a year ago.
Yeah, I was watching that really closely, and they have held the line just about across the board. So almost every iPhone this year is the same price as its equivalent version last year. The only exception is the 17 Pro, which they bumped up by about $150. But the reason being, they inserted the iPhone Air into the sort of that price point. So they did some shuffling a little bit, but that expectation that iPhones would become a lot more expensive because of tariffs didn't happen. And the same logic is playing out with all their other devices. They introduced the new Apple Watch Series 11, the Apple Watch Ultra 3, the AirPods, all of these devices too. Same price tags as last year.
By the way, one of the things I saw, I didn't know we'd do the whole segment on this. One of the things I saw was the, what we call them, the ear ones, or what are they called?
The AirPod Pro.
The AirPods. One of them actually, I don't know which model it was, it will let you talk to someone else and translate on its own what they're saying into your ears so you can hear. Did you see this?
I did. The feature is called live translation.
That's
and
what
it's
it is.
Almost like if anyone who watched Star Trek back in the day, the universal translator, this is that science fiction come to life. You can literally, if both of you have AirPods, you talk in your language, they talk in their language, and it translates in real time in your ear. If you only have AirPods 3, let's say you go, you travel to a distant country and you're in a market somewhere and you're negotiating a price, you can talk in your language, and then it will actually show in the other language on your iPhone. You hold your iPhone out, the person you're talking to can read what you're saying in their native language, and then your AirPods translate their language in your ear. So really cool technology.
Crazy, yeah.
Admittedly, Google has had a version of this for a few years now, and Android, people always go, well, Google introduced it a few years ago. But when Apple decides that it's time to incorporate this technology, that's when it drives into the mainstream. That's when most of us have a chance of actually using it in the day-to-day. And for a lot of people, that'll be a reason to buy these things. I think that's really cool.
I think it's pretty cool, too. All right, let's talk about Google, since we're speaking about Google. What the admission here, the open web is, quote, in rapid decline. What are they talking about?
Yeah, so they were sued by the U.S. Department of Justice. They lost that case, and they'd basically been called a monopolist. They're in the punishment or penalty phase of it now. So they've been filing all these court briefs back and forth. And for the longest time, Google said, well, the web as we know it, which has largely been based on Google search, and then it connects to ads, and then it makes money on the ads that appear next to your Google search. That's the economy that greases the skids of the web, and that's been the way it's worked for about 30 plus years. Whereas now we're shifting into the AI world. You don't search for things anymore. You increasingly use ChatGPT and other AI tools to get your answers, which of course affects the basic economy of the internet. Google can't make money the way it used to. That's why Google is investing so much in all these AI tools. Well, Google has admitted in these court filings that the web is not thriving. In fact, AI traffic is tanking their revenues, and rather than searching for things, chatbots are taking over, and so they're saying this threatens their very business, which means that the internet as we know it, the web as we know it, could be in for a bit of a shakeup over the next few years. And finally, Google said the quiet part out loud.
Wow. It's interesting with all the chatbots that are out there, your chat GPTs and your perplexities and your Groks and whatever. Google's really become, I think anyway, Carm, maybe I'm wrong, a bit of an also-ran here, no?
That's the risk here. Of all of the technology companies that were kind of leading the tech space when ChatGPT was released, in late 2022, Google has had the most to lose because Google made the model that makes the internet tick. Google made $350 billion last year in online advertising. And if it doesn't figure out AI, then that entire business will evaporate over the next few years. So as soon as ChatGPT came out, they called what's called a code red. Stop every project that everybody in the company is working on, literally pivot the company toward AI. If it doesn't have AI in its name, it doesn't get budget, it doesn't get attention, it stops dead. And ever since then, Google's introduced something called Gemini, which is their answer to ChatGPT. They've introduced a bunch of new tools. If you use Gmail or Google Docs or any other Google service, Google Maps, you'll notice increasingly they're kind of stuffing AI features into them, whether you like it or not. And Google is literally in the fight of its life because there's no guarantee that it will remain as dominant in the AI era as it did in the web era. Right. And that's why you're seeing the company really try so hard to reinvent itself very quickly. If it doesn't, we'll be talking about it in the past tense.
Yeah, crazy. All right, let me close with this. Got about a minute. I saw this story. I think this is great. So Mark Zuckerberg, who of course is the guy, right? He's Meta, is being sued by a guy called Mark Zuckerberg. So tell us the story here.
So Mark Zuckerberg, his middle name is Mark Steven Zuckerberg. He's a lawyer. He's based in Indiana. He focuses on bankruptcies, and he over the last 8 years, 5 separate times, his business account on Facebook has been shut down by Meta because they say that, well, you have the same name as our founder. And it has taken him months in every case to get his account back. And anyone who's ever had their account shut down by Meta knows how frustrating and costly this can be. So finally he said, you know what, I'm sick of this. I'm suing them because it's affecting my business. So the lawsuit has been filed. It's going to work its way through court. And he says he doesn't really want money. He's hoping for, like if they want to write him a check, fine. But he'd be happy with a week on Mark Zuckerberg's yacht if he wins this case. And just something to keep in mind. The lawyer in Indianapolis, it's Mark Steven Zuckerberg, the founder of Meta, Mark Elliott Zuckerberg. You would think the company would be able to figure that out.
But they haven't. All right.
No.
Hey, Carmi, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Eric.
Carmi Levy, CTV Tech Analyst.